am Mica Sims, and I am sitting down with Bill Johnson, who is a candidate for the U.S. Senate seat here in Kentucky. Will be vacated by Jim Bunning. Bill, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Just real quickly and briefly, can you tell Kentucky why you're running, a little bit of background, and who you are?
Well, there's several reasons I'm running. First, I honestly didn't like the choices I had on who to vote for in the primary, and I wanted to offer a different type of candidate, a true grassroots candidate that the voters of Kentucky can look at. Our country is under attack by terrorists and domestic forces who are trying to kill Americans but trying to destroy our way of life. And when I joined the military, I took an oath to protect the Constitution. I took an oath to defend the country, and I need to keep my word. And finally, I've just had enough of the nonsense coming out of Washington. I've often said if somebody would have given us $4,500 for those clunkers in Washington, we would have sold them. And,
Had you ever thought about running before?
No, I've been in the private sector the past 13 years. I was in the military before that, just living an American life, paying my mortgage, paying my bills, and taking advantage of the American dream. But Ronald Reagan inspired me to join the military. Barack Obama has inspired me to politics. It's time to stand up against these domestic forces and protect America. It's worth defending.
I appreciate it. Well, you definitely are in an array of established candidates in this race. I went to our Secretary of State for Kentucky, our Lieutenant Governor, our Attorney General, and we also have Rand Paul, who is the son of Ron Paul, a prominent senator. How do you set yourself apart from these candidates?
Well, there's many ways I'm different. I think you look professionally, our backgrounds. You mentioned doctors and lawyers. They were all doctors and lawyers. I'm not either of those. I'm an engineer by education, a nuclear engineer by training, and with an MBA. So my professional background's different. I've served in the military. I've been in the private sector. I've created jobs. I've cut waste in the private sector. I have an energy background, working for a major oil company. So I bring a private sector defense view to the race. And I think it's also different that I'm not a part of the establishment. I'm not connected to a Washington network. I'm not influenced by out-of-state money and other people. I have to stand on my own 2 feet. And I have to appeal directly to the voters and generate grassroots enthusiasm, because I simply can't buy my way to Washington. I've got to earn my way to Washington because the people of Kentucky want me to be there to represent them. So I'm quite different in many ways. I drove myself here today.
You did, and thank you. It's quite snowy out there.
It is. I delivered newspapers the past 2 days to loading docks all over this state. So I'm leading in terms of working hard to win each and every vote. I'm taking nothing for granted.
Well, it has been suggested that because of the candidates that you're up against, it's going to take millions of dollars to run a viable campaign. Are you prepared to raise that sort of money?
I don't think you need that money. I think that's a myth that they use to keep grassroots candidates out of the race. There's several techniques they use. They use fake polls to try to pretend to be stronger than they perhaps are. They throw money at the problem. It's typical Washington thinking, throw money at a problem. That's not the way we solve problems in business. So no, I don't think it takes that kind of money. For example, I've been on commercials here in Lexington. Actually, I'm on Hannity this week, and those commercials cost $130 a piece. A commercial on cable is very inexpensive. I've been distributing newspapers around the state. They cost me 3.7 cents a piece. So there's very low-cost ways to get your message out to the voters. And I often say if you don't have a past that you have to cover up, and you just need to get a message out there and you're proud of where you've been, it doesn't take that kind of money. So when I see them behaving the exact same way, raise and spend somebody else's money, that's similar to what they do in Washington, tax and spend. Too much of our politics is about money, and it shouldn't be. I think that's one of the biggest problems we have, is that it's all about money. So as long as you can find a way to get your message out, you don't need a lot of money. You just need to get your message out. And it takes hard work. Like I said, the past 2 days I've been traveling the state delivering newspapers personally, 80,000 of them. So every day I'm on the road meeting a voter, going to small grassroots groups, and generating that enthusiasm around the state. So it's going to take a lot of hard work.
Kentucky has a majority amount of registered Democratic voters. If you win the Republican primary, how would you attract registered Democrats to vote for you?
Well, a lot of the Democrats in the state are very conservative. They're actually more conservative than some of the Republicans. So we have a very conservative state. We have a lot of Reagan Democrats. And so if you are conservative, both fiscally conservative, socially conservative, and believe in strong defense, the Reagan Democrats will come over to our side. And historically on national elections, we are a very Republican-oriented state. And now a lot of those Reagan Democrats are from the rural areas of the state. So being able to connect with those individuals and understand their perspective is important. So I think just running a conservative message will bring a large majority of those Democrats to the Republican side.
If you're president right now, President Obama, what would be the one thing that you would do to fix the current economic crisis?
Well, if I took over right now, I would undo what he has done, number one, because government stimulus is not going to stimulate the economy. If you've ever been in business, you understand that government is just a redistributive engine. It takes from one person and gives to another. There's no economic growth. There's no wealth created by the government. It just moves money around. So government spending isn't going to stimulate the economy. What we need to do is cut taxes, just as Ronald Reagan did, cut taxes. Most small business owners I talk to, and large businesses, say that if we would cut taxes, they would start hiring tomorrow. That would then put people back to work. We can then generate the income needed to pay down the debt. As a matter of national pride, we need to pay off the debt. So I think we must cut taxes to generate real economic growth. And also, cutting taxes will keep more of our manufacturing here in Kentucky versus them leaving the country. So I would cut taxes.
Of all of the challenges right now that America faces, what do you think is the most pressing matter?
Employment. We need to get people back to work. Unemployment is 10.3 or 4% nationally. Kentucky, it's even higher. If you look at the fact, just account for people who have given up looking for work, it's probably closer to 20 to 23% effective unemployment. We must put people back to work by cutting taxes and allowing the businesses to then hire these employees. Trying to hire them into the government service is not the answer for our country. So I think we need to cut taxes and generate real economic value and growth.